All right, guys, out here on the line, about 10 degrees today, which is not cold to some of you guys, but it's pretty cold here. It's what we've been waiting on, good cold weather. But anyway, it's nice when we walk up on a set like this in the snow. This set was set up on a drag. Y'all know we love the drags, but like this road, it's an old timber job and it gets traveled really heavy, ATV traffic. You can bring trucks back here. So we like to set these up on drags, and of course we pulled up and could tell that it looked like all heck broke loose here, and you can see the trap bed with no trap. And I don't know if you can see him tearing up Jack over there, but can you see him?
Yeah,
he got a really dark coyote, and he got, I guess, 20 yards off the road, which means we knew to look for it, but anybody that just came by here never would look. You know, it's one of the reasons we like using those drags so much. Not a real big coyote. I don't think it's a pup of the year. It may be a 2-year-old. Good full deep pad catch. And of course, it took the saber tooth all the way up in this stuff. And once they get over in this, guys worry to death about losing their coyotes. And as long as you set the drags up and use the proper drag in the proper area, you're not going to lose them. So again, you can look back and see how far he made it. 20 yards maybe for you guys that are doubting the drags. So we'll dispatch this coyote and get set up to film this remake. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. We're gonna do this remake. One thing I want to talk about really quick is you can't see it on this set because we have so much snow. When we put this set in, the set was actually, there's like a bank here, and the set was kind of above the grade of the road. Well, now there's so much snow packed in here, it's not that way. But what I want to talk about just one quick second is some folks say that you can't set above where the animal's going to be stepping and get a good pad catch. Well, that's crap. It's a matter of you as a trapper making that animal put his foot where you want it to. So one thing I wanted to do before I took this out of this trap is you'll notice his paw is on this pan, and this thing stepped up, and of course again it doesn't look like that now, but it stepped up to check out what was in this hole exactly where we placed this trap, which gave us a deep full pad catch. So again, as a trapper, I hear people say all the time you got to be 8 inches back or 10 inches back or 2 inches to the left, or well, at the end of the day, a trapper that's worth his salt, that's doing his job, will put that trap where he wants it and then make that coyote step there. So don't be afraid to put a set above where that coyote's actually going to step. Yeah, should you do it every time? Probably not. But take the time sometimes on your locations to do that, and you'll pick up more dogs. Okay, so now I'm just going to throw this drag over in the weeds. And my trap bed, that's the beauty about a drag, is my trap bed is still here. So I basically just have to clean it out. And of course it's filled in a little bit with peat. Again, that's a place for your chain and a place for moisture. So we do ice melt in the bed. We're going to use peat with the trap. And what I like to do with my drags and I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video, but once I set that trap in there, I like to run that chain out here by the lever and the jaw. The one thing you got to be careful about when you bed it though is that you don't get your chain up on your jaw or on your lever, because it'll cause you to have misses. But I'll show you what I mean. So I bed that trap. It goes right back in the original bed, and then I'll run that chain out like that, which there's already a groove there from the original set. And guys worry to death about the chain sometimes. I mean, I'll put a little bit under the ground or smash it in there. But guys, if that coyote's after what you got in that hole, he's not gonna pay a whole lot of attention to that chain. And just like that, we got a trap bedded. Extremely solid. We use table salt. Salt the levers heavy, around the jaws heavy. And no, it doesn't matter whether it's iodized or non-iodized. Coyotes don't seem to care. And then what you're gonna do, this is bone dry peat moss. Dry it in the attic during the summer. Take you a big handful and work it down inside those jaws where to keep everything good and insulated. Just push it in there, and then I'll take some more salt. Another big handful. And that's all the peat I'm gonna put in that hole. That's it. Okay, I'll put a little bit more salt on my last layer. And then what I do, we're again in West Virginia, so we do get free salt, but we're not in places like Minnesota and Michigan where it gets down to Iowa 20 below and it stays that way. So instead of bedding the whole thing in wax dirt, I'll bed it in peat and use my salt. And then I like to get me a handful. And just kind of throw it in there right on top. Help you with moisture. That dry peat does great. But if you happen to get a big heavy rain, and then the beauty about this snow is then you can just kind of start working this trash set. Now I'll tell you what we had here. We had Leanne's famous duff set. She kills the coyotes with this thing, and she said, you need to put a duff set in there. And honest to God's truth, 4 days later we pick up this coyote. So we pull up, and I had to listen to it for a minute, but she definitely knows what she's talking about. Most of the duff is covered with snow. But the one thing about that duff is even when you get a big snow, we'll take a drill or a punch and put us a hole in there, and then put that duff over top of it and put that bait down in that hole, and then that duff, moisture and rain and snow and all that, still protects your bait hole. Well, most of that stuff is under here, and I'm not going to fool a whole lot with it because that coyote come up, he dug that hole out pretty good. But that duff protected things enough that all we had to do was basically clean it out a little bit and use it again. So you can take all this snow, and you don't have to, but some guys Now, any coyote that's worth a crap, when he comes down this road and he sees all this nonsense, I guarantee he's checking this out. He may not do it tonight, but there's no coyote that's going to continually walk by this and not come over here with all this stuff that's going on over here and check it out. So he did dig the hole out pretty good. So I'm going to rebait it. One thing I'll tell you, I tell a lot of guys this, some folks listen, some folks don't, and that's fine. When you make these big dirt holes like this that these animals can get to fairly easy, if you use a bait that's like a chunk bait or a big thick bait, and all you do is drop that bait in that hole, sometimes you'll get robbed. They will take that whole big chunk of bait, because it might not freeze solid, but it'll freeze enough that it's in a big chunk, and they'll walk out of here with your bait. So when you make these dirt holes, a little piece of advice that will help you guys is find you a bait that you can get a butter knife or anything like that and just absolutely smear it like that, and put it in there and just wallow it all over the wall of that dirt hole, and that will keep that coyote at your set longer, because he doesn't know that as he's digging that hole out, it's still in there. It's smeared all over that wall, and his nose is telling him that there's more in there, instead of just being able to reach in there and dig a little bit and take it. I'll put a little bit of Hodshire's Red Dog in here, make them dig like crazy. I like to smear it, oops, right in the lip of the dirt hole. Get out of there. Just smear it in there good. And we're starting to hit breeding season. Take a little bit of Andy's coyote gland, and I'll just smear a little bit back here in this backing. Now here's the tip of the day. If you want to catch a coyote, and always catch a coyote in a dirt hole, here's the tip. You got to have a mouse in your pocket. Throw that joker in that dirt hole. That's all there is to it, guys. It's not rocket science. It's not smoke and mirrors. You make these sets and you continually work hard and you'll catch coyotes. If we can help you any way at all, reach out to us. We'd love to help you. Catch you somewhere else down the line.